Good afternoon and welcome back to the Weather Channel. Here we're continuing to watch the very latest unfolding developments with Hurricane Katrina. And here's the very latest information on some airport closures.
Of course, we're constantly getting new information here into our newsroom. And the latest we have on the airports, New Orleans and Baton Rouge closed, Biloxi, Mobile, and Pensacola, Florida. All of these airports are closed. Of course, we're also dealing with some pretty nasty, severe weather, a number of tornado warnings in effect.
That's right. We still have tornado warnings out for Forest and Lamar counties. That includes the city of Hattiesburg there. We're talking about destructive winds on the order of 105 miles per hour. You can see a number of tornado warnings there, including Madison, Atala, Leake, Neshoba, and Kemper counties, all there in extreme northeast Mississippi. And then we also have tornado warnings which have just been issued for southwest Alabama. We're talking about Escambia County, Monroe County, and Wilcox County, all in south central Alabama. Keep in mind, folks, you will not see these tornadoes coming.
Stay with us. We'll have more coming up.
How does the Merck Patient Assistance Program...
You're on the Weather Channel, Hurricane Central.
Hurricane Katrina has sent as much as 8 feet of water from Mobile Bay into downtown Mobile. We've got the pictures to show you coming up next.
Parts of Louisiana and the Mississippi coast are underwater thanks to Hurricane Katrina. Streets are flooded, homes have been damaged or destroyed, and this storm is far from over. Well, hi and welcome to the special edition of Weather Center. We're in storm alert here at the Weather Channel. I'm Christina Abernathy.
And I'm Kevin Robinson. Hurricane Katrina has made its third and final landfall, thankfully. And let me tell you, this storm was a real monster. I mean, we're getting in some new pictures and new information every minute now from the downtown New Orleans area. It was a prime target of Katrina. Windows are blown out. Streets are under several feet of water. It's been mentioned that on and exit ramps off Interstate 10 look like ramps into a lake. I mean, just incredible weather conditions there in southeastern Louisiana.
And the wind, the rain, the storm surge, absolutely amazing. Look at the floodwater left here in Mobile, Alabama. Some serious flooding right now in Mobile, and it's at least 100 miles from the center of the storm.
Let's take a look at where Katrina first made landfall earlier this morning, just a little bit after 6 o'clock, just south of Baton, Louisiana. Maximum sustained winds were at 140 miles per hour, making this a strong Category 4 hurricane. And right now, we have the very latest weather information in.
That's right. A new update has come in, and the maximum sustained winds have now decreased to near 95 miles per hour. So still powerful winds, but not as powerful. The pressure, 955 millibars, and it's located about 20 miles west-southwest of Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Now, to kind of help put that in perspective, that means this would still be a strong tropical storm well into north-central Mississippi. Jeff Morrow has ridden out the storm in Covington, Louisiana, just north of New Orleans, across from Lake Pontchartrain. The weather has kept his crew down, and we haven't been able to get live shots for several hours, but now they're finally able to rejoin us. Jeff, update us on your situation.
Christine and Kevin, it has been a heck of a day here, to say the least, in Covington, Louisiana, just to get everybody situated. We've been off the air here for a little while, not because our satellite truck, although we did have to put the dish down for a while because the wind shifted direction on us and it got a little bit too unstable. The winds, as you can see here, still a little bit feisty. They're probably gusting upwards of about 30, 35 miles an hour, but they're way down from what they were a little bit earlier in the day. Basically, the reason we had to come down, we had no way to communicate with the Weather Channel. The cell service here is completely gone, and also there is no electricity around here. But we figured out a way, and we want to show you some of these new pictures that we shot. This is down at the north end of the Pontchartrain Causeway. When the wind shifted direction as the hurricane passed and started coming more out of the west and southwest, it started to blow the lake up onto the north shore, and these are some of the scenes there. There was some flooding as the water was coming into an area that I reported from actually last evening. Where I was standing was probably under about a foot or so of water. The lake probably rose at least about 4 feet or so. So there was some minor flooding down there. The causeway, by the way, is closed, so you cannot get back and forth across that at the present time. Now, up here in Covington, we did get word that potentially, and we'll verify this as soon as we can, potentially there will be a curfew in effect in this area as we head on into this evening. The police have been around from time to time, and we'll try to get a verification on that. If we're back here alive now, I do want to go ahead and show you just some minor damage, some trees down here. If we can look between the trees, I don't know if my cameraman can, but that parking lot across the way there, this is in front of a Walmart, is flooded. There's a storm drain situation there, and the water has all backed up in the parking lot there. So some minor flooding going on here. Structural damage, again, is minor, mostly tree damage, but again, that was enough to knock out the power. I would conservatively guess that we had winds up around 80 miles an hour for a time earlier this afternoon, but things definitely have calmed down. All right, let's go over to Mike Seidel now. He's in Mobile, Alabama. Mike?
Hey, Jeff, here in Mobile, it's flying debris continuing, not big chunks of homes, but a lot of big pieces of shingles flying through the air with each of these wind gusts. We get some of these squalls coming through, although I think we're through the worst of the storm. Well, you think that, and then you got another squall through. Trees are down everywhere. Obviously, one of the reasons we've got at least 100,000 customers here in Mobile County without power. Let's go to downtown Mobile. This is where the real issue is, the real story right now as far as flooding. As much as 8 feet of water covering the streets of downtown Mobile, almost as high as the parking meters. The Interstate 110 sign was almost up to the red, white, and blue interstate sign. The whole area where we were this time yesterday is underwater. That's why we moved, because of that surge, which was predicted to be 20 to 25 feet. We don't know how high it got, but we're pretty confident that it got higher than Frederick's surge back in '79. That was 12 to 13 feet. So downtown Mobile, you just can't even get down there because all the ramps off I-10, you get down the ramp, you have to turn around because you drive right into the water there on Water Street and Royal Street. Take a look real quick. Still a very strong wind going up Interstate 65 and a lot of rain still coming down. Amazing. These bands just keep coming out of nowhere. At least I think the worst of the wind has moved on. Still, though, gusts 50 to 60. Back to Christina and Kevin.
Well, thanks, Mike. Make sure you're definitely careful and wary of any flying debris out there. Here's the bottom line with Katrina as she continues to move inland now.
Katrina is still a dangerous hurricane. It will produce major inland wind impacts, and that includes structural damage, downed trees, power lines, massive outages.
Right now, we're looking for those greatest impacts to take place up Interstate 59 through the Hattiesburg, Laurel area, and eventually up towards Meridian. Keep it tuned to Hurricane Central.
Hurricane Katrina makes landfall. Stay with us for the latest in-depth analysis, live reports from the field, weather experts, meteorologists, and hurricane hunters telling you what's happening, why it's happening, and what's next. The Weather Channel, Hurricane Central. The Weather Channel, Hurricane Central. Coming up, the latest on Katrina. But now, you're local on the 8s.
feels better than being at home because it's obvious that it is a serious situation there. But it's difficult to be away from home and not have a really true sense of what's going on. We can't really get our local news except for through the internet feed that my daughter's looking at. So we're getting little glimpses of pieces around the city, but we don't really know what's happening at our home.
They got the interstate shut down at the Texas-Louisiana border, so I don't think they let anybody back in the city across the 12-mile bridge until they're ready.
You're looking at pictures now out of New Orleans, the Lake Pontchartrain area where the water is, it's an angry lake now as the water continues to rise. There were big concerns that we would see this over the levees. And again, we see the road looks okay right there, but we will continue to get video out of this area and we'll probably be pretty awed by the damage that we see.
Fellow meteorologist there made a good point earlier about the fact how often do you see waves right next to trees and things of that nature. It just doesn't make a lot of sense there. Now, Stephanie Abrams is live in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, and that's where we're going to go right now so that she can give us an idea of what she's experiencing there in the Florida Panhandle.
Well, basically, status quo here. Not much has changed. We've had those tropical storm force gusts all day, sustained winds around 30 miles an hour coming out of the southeast. We are on the east side of the storm with that counterclockwise wind, and we are getting first a southeast wind, now it's more south-southeast as the storm has moved inland. I have good news to report. The Pensacola Airport will be opening tomorrow at 5 a.m., but if you're trying to fly back to Mississippi or New Orleans, especially along the Gulf Coast, that will probably not be available for several days as they're trying to repair. And many of the evacuees that are staying here in Fort Walton Beach are worried about their property and their families. They've been getting updates on the Weather Channel.
The flood waters coming in south of 90. There's some areas that seem to be underwater that we're not, you know, a friend of ours was in East Biloxi, from what we understand, and he had about waist-high water in his house. And that would be just north of Highway 90.
How concerned are you about your family?
Yeah, we're really concerned. We're staying in contact with them by cell phone. Whenever we can get through on different towers, we have a Mississippi number and a Louisiana number, so we go back and forth, you know, trying to stay in touch with them.
What are your emotions right now?
We don't wish anybody any bad luck nowhere. You know, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida. I mean, everybody's used to these types of things, and we're just hoping that everybody fares well.
Now, there have been spotty power outages, but overall the day has been pretty consistent. We just get a little bit of rain, then it stops. We're mainly just talking about the water here that has been crashing up against the dunes. I don't know what that person is doing out there in the water right now. It really disturbs me that these people think they can just walk into the water there, because they get knocked over and right out quicker than they even know. So Kevin and Christina, people need to stay out of the water. It's just not a smart thing to do.
You're absolutely right, because people always underestimate the strength of the water there, and it's so easy to pull you right back out, and you're out there before you know it. Thanks, Stephanie.
Well, we also have, with these tropical systems moving inland, the threat of severe weather. A tornado watch is in effect that covers the panhandle of Florida, parts of Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi.
And you can see some of those spiral bands there moving through Alabama and Georgia. And now we're going to bring in our severe weather expert, Dr. Greg Forbes. And Dr. Forbes, tell us, they equate the intensity of the hurricane now to a tornado.
Yeah, Kevin, the winds with this hurricane are still above hurricane force, so this is like an F1 tornado, but 25 miles wide, moving across the eastern portion of Mississippi. Here's what I'm talking about. Look here, you see this circle. It's just centered north of Hattiesburg right now, moving off toward the north. It's going to go very close and just to the west of Meridian. Within that, we do actually have some tornado warnings. This band north of the Jackson area right now, we have a tornado warning for Atala County in Mississippi. Then we have a number of other bands, this one and this one, that have tornado warnings with those. In fact, we'll take a look a little bit more closely at that. And we have tornado warnings now in southwest portions of Alabama for Monroe, Wilcox, Escambia, and Conecuh counties. All of these storms have rotation as they move off toward the north-northwest. And then this band comes all the way from Tallahassee up in near Albany, Georgia, and gets up into the Auburn, Alabama area, and that has a tornado warning there. That one is for Lee County. Now look at this band. as it gradually slides its way. That could this evening and tonight get into the Atlanta, Georgia area. Let's switch sources. We'll see the eye beginning to fill in as we get a gradual weakening of Katrina, but there is lightning within that eye wall. That means the chance of storms strong enough to spin off tornadoes, and then all of that lightning in these storms, they have the potential to tap those strong winds and spin up some tornadoes. So today, anywhere up in overnight hours, up into southern Tennessee, up into Atlanta as we get into the time around dark. And then tomorrow, that tornado threat spins a little bit farther off toward the north and east inside that yellow shaded area. Now we have heavy torrential rain as well, 1 to 3 inches per hour. We're already accumulated about a foot in some of the southern areas, and we'll have flooding all along the way up into the Ohio Valley. Kevin, Christina?
Well, thanks, Dr. Forbes.
And you'll want to stay with us as we continue to have coverage of Hurricane Katrina as it moves inland into the southeast.